All right, so we're live, but we're going to actually go live as soon as I get a couple people in. Just waiting on a few people. No big deal. I kind of pushed this back 15 minutes, but we're going to go live in a minute here. But mostly just want to talk about Velasquez versus Kielholtz and Tate versus Reneau. All right, so we got someone in here. I'm going to wait to see if I get another one or two people in. But welcome to whoever's watching. The chat is open, so feel free to enter if you like, or chat if you like. They left. But we're going to get started in a second here. There's no point in starting without an audience. And so it looks like we're going to start anyway. All right, so welcome to WMMA Now with your host, Chuck Stevenson, or welcome back. Wanted to take this time tonight to talk about the two biggest fights over the past weekend. You know, I just didn't have the energy to or the time to do like individual reviews on these. So I thought I'd just talk about it on the stream overall and just break down each fight a little bit, but especially Kielholtz versus Velasquez. Seems like that was the most controversial fight. So we're going to break that one down particularly. And especially just because there are so many people out there proclaiming this fight as an absolute robbery, which, let's be honest here, MMA fans love to say robbery anytime there's a close fight. Any close fight, it's immediate. Oh, robbery, robbery, robbery. And it's like, no, it wasn't a robbery. Nobody got robbed. Okay, a robbery would be like someone should have won 4 or 5 rounds out of 5. And then the decision goes the opposite way. What's up, Judy B? Welcome. I started a little later than I had originally planned. I had to move the stream back 15 minutes because I was running behind. But all right, so let's get started here. Let's talk about Kielholtz versus Velasquez, or Velasquez versus Kielholtz. All right. And I chose this picture because of Velasquez's jab. That, to me, was the story of the fight. But let's break this down. Okay, so the first round, okay, I thought Kielholtz came out very aggressive, charging forward, landing her strikes, whereas to me, Velasquez just took the first round off. You know, she's traditionally a slow starter, so it wasn't that surprising that to me that Kielholtz, I gave her the first round. But yeah, mostly because of the aggression. She came out charging. She came out looking to land. Velasquez wasn't, used to the speed because Kielholtz very much faster. Velasquez just had a hard time dealing with the speed at first, and the commentary talked about it. Just the speed. And so I had no problem giving Kielholtz the first round. The second round, I thought Kielholtz again came out aggressive, and she was landing her shots. But as the round wore on, I thought that Velasquez started to find her range. She started to land her jab. And most importantly, she started to get the timing of Kielholtz down. And that was the big key, was Kielholtz's timing and Velasquez finding her range with the jab. And as that round wore on, I thought Velasquez started to take over in the second round. To me, though, that was the closest round, was the second. So you could have that one going either way in my mind. I thought, Kielholtz started strong, Velasquez finished stronger. Third round, to me, was when Velasquez really took over. I got my notes here. She shut Kielholtz down with the jabs, and Kielholtz started whiffing way more than she landed. And you could tell that the frustration was setting in. I mean, she was really diving in for those punches. I mean, just diving in, really throwing those shots, just winging them. Like she just had no answer really to get past the jab, and she had to resort to just really, diving in with those looping punches, and she whiffed way more than she landed. Also, Juliana Velasquez got a late takedown. And, some judges don't count the late takedowns. Some do. It is what it is. Fourth round, I thought it was more the same as excuse me. I just drank a lot of pop. I thought it was more the same as the third round. I have Kielholtz. She was showing more damage on the face. Told me that, the punches of Velasquez were landing more. And again, most of Kielholtz's punches either missed or they hit the chest. And there's really not a judge alive that is going to score punches hitting the chest in a stand-up. On the ground, sure. If they were hitting, like the lower abdomen, like in the gut or the sides, yeah, those are going to score. But I don't think there's any judge in boxing or MMA that's going to count punches landing here or on the shoulder. I mean, are they punches landed? Are they strikes landed? Yeah. But are they really scoring shots? Not really, because they're not really slow someone down as much as shots to the head or the belly or the sides. They're not going to slow someone down. They're not going to take as big of an effect. And they're just not doing as much damage. I mean, punches landed to the chest and the shoulder, they're easy to absorb. So they're not really doing any damage. And they're not taking a toll on your opponent. Fifth round. I thought this was a much better round for Kielholtz. I guess her corner must have lit a fire under her butt. Something went on between the fourth and the fifth round in that corner of Kielholtz. Had to be, because she came out even more aggressive possibly than in the first round. Now, she stunned Velasquez early with a punch, and you could see it. I mean, it didn't like stun her that bad, but it was enough to show, and Velasquez definitely noticed it. So, but this fight, this round, as it wore on, it just devolved into an absolute dogfight. Velasquez was still landing a jab, but Kielholtz started landing more of her punches as she dove in. And so I had this one either Kielholtz or a swing round. So all told, I had 2 rounds definitely to Kielholtz, the first and the fifth. I had the second and third to Velasquez, or no, the third and the fourth to Velasquez. It came down to the second round for me, and I edged it towards Velasquez because she finished stronger in that round. It could have gone either way, but you tend to look at who finished stronger in a round if it's split down the middle, who finished stronger, and that's how I saw it. So I saw it 3-2 for Juliana Velasquez. Obviously, controversial decision. A lot of people were favoring Kielholtz. So let's really talk about what went on here. For me, the story of the fight, and I made a community post on this, the story of the fight was the effective counter-striking of Velasquez. When she when she got her timing down, when she got Kielholtz's timing down, and when Velasquez found her range with that jab, it just totally changed the story of the fight. Okay, she was able to keep Kielholtz on the outside at the end of her range, and she was able to stop the momentum of Kielholtz with that jab. I mean, look at the picture here. Let me enlarge it a little bit. Okay, that is an effective jab, keeping a fighter on the end of your range and stopping the forward momentum of Kielholtz. So that jab and that effective counter-striking was what really changed the nature of the fight there, okay? Because if Kielholtz started coming forward, Velasquez threw out the jab. And her jab is, she has one of the most accurate jabs in the women's divisions, does Juliana Velasquez. And that jab, and she throws it hard enough. I mean, she puts some pop behind it. She throws it properly. Like she uses her shoulder and pops it. And if that lands right, that's going to stop someone from moving forward. That is a momentum stopping jab. Also, it is a strike used to keep a fighter at the end of your range. If you got an longer range, longer reach, you're taller, you use that jab to keep a fighter on the outside. And if they start coming forward and you can keep them outside with that jab, you can use that effectively and keep them, stop their momentum. So like I said, the story of the fight came down to the effective counter striking of Kielholtz. Now Velasquez. Now, I thought Kielholtz did an okay job of, getting on the inside when she had to, but you could tell, like, as the fight wore on, she was getting frustrated and just diving in, like I said, just winging punches, and more of them were whiffing than were landing. Now, she had some good low kicks. I've seen people say that, the judges don't do enough to count low kicks, and to an extent I agree, but the low kicks got to do something. Like, they got to show some wear, whereas Velasquez wasn't showing any wear from them. I have here the count, the landed strikes count. Listen, counts of landed strikes don't tell the story of the fight. For one thing, most of them are done as the fight is live, so they're not slowing the fight down and watching to see how many strikes actually land. So they're usually way off. But also, strike counts do not tell the story of the fight. Because what if someone, like, okay, let's say you take someone down and you just start throwing a whole bunch of strikes to their gut. And they're just little pop, 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 little peppering shots to their gut. Guess what? This count of strikes landed. Are those going to tell the whole story of the fight? If you're getting beat up on your feet for most of the round, and then you get a takedown in, and you suddenly outland your opponent because you're landing little punches to a gut and outstrike them in the count? No. So strike counts do not tell the story of the fight because, like I said, one, they're usually way off, especially if they're live. Two, they're not going to tell the whole story of the fight because if Kielholtz was landing more, she wasn't landing the most effective strikes. And people say, well, significant strikes. The definitions I usually see for significant strikes, or what should count as significant strikes, most strikes that are counted as significant strikes aren't very significant because they're not doing much. Like I said, I had it 3-2 Juliana Velasquez. I wouldn't have been upset with a draw, though. In fact, I think a draw probably would have left a lot of people less angry than they ended up being. This result was very, very controversial. A lot of people were just absolutely angry. I mean, like, throwing stuff, getting mad, making fools of themselves live on air, angry over a fight result. It's like, man, I'll never understand that. Like, I get upset with fight results too, but I'm not gonna just start throwing stuff while I'm doing a live stream. And I saw that with more than one person. Like, I don't understand getting that invested in a fight. I really don't. I just do not understand getting that invested in a fight that you're going to get physically angry over a fight result. I saw a lot of crazy accusations made. Crazy accusations made at the judges. People are saying, oh, the judges are crooked. The judges are crooked. Bellator paid them off, blah, 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 or judges suck. Bellator doesn't, for one thing, Bellator does not choose the judges. The commission did. They're in Connecticut. They're at Mohegan Sun. I'm not sure if it's Mohegan Sun, the travel commission that picks those judges, or if it's Connecticut Athletic Commission that picks those judges. But Bellator does not pick those judges. Okay. A lot of anger at Bellator saying that they were playing favorites and they wanted Velasquez to win. I simply disagree. If you were watching the build-up to that fight the entire night, they were listing just how many different ways that Kielholtz was a problem for Velasquez. And they were saying Velasquez to keep it on her feet would be foolish. She'd be advised to take it on the ground. And then they were saying even on the ground, Kielholtz is a black belt in judo and she'd be a hard time. And that how many opponents did she finish on the ground? To me, I thought the narrative of the evening was favoring Kielholtz. A lot of anger and a lot of accusations made at the commentary. A lot of people were saying that the commentary was pro Velasquez the entire fight. I listen with the volume on low so that I can still hear it, but not be like too swayed by it. Here's what I heard. First round. Kielholtz speed, Kielholtz speed, Kielholtz speed, Kielholtz speed. Oh, Kielholtz is so fast. Her speed, her speed, her speed. The entire commentary of the first round was about Kielholtz's speed. Not unfairly either, because that was the story of the first round, was her being too fast for Velasquez. And basically, like I said, Velasquez pretty much took the first round off, as she tends to do. She's a slow starter. The second round, it was more of the same, Kielholtz speed, until about partway through, and then Big John finally started saying, oh, Velasquez is starting to, do some work with her jab. And then from there, it really started to favor Velasquez more as she took over with her jab. So for people to say, oh, they were in favor of Velasquez the whole fight, no. They started out in favor of Kielholtz because Kielholtz was doing more. Then as the fight wore on and Velasquez was being more effective, then they started to favor Velasquez more. That happens in every fight where someone starts off slow and then takes over. We got a few more people in. The chat is open if you want to comment or leave your opinion. So we're still discussing Kielholtz versus Velasquez, or Velasquez versus Kielholtz. Oh, and then I saw if you went online to any of the online forums, I don't know about Facebook. I saw it on Reddit a little bit, and I saw it on I favor the Sherdog forums a lot. If you favored Velasquez in the decision, people were making crazy accusations. I even got accused of I must have a fetish, a strange fetish for Velasquez if I favored the decision for her. I'll be honest. I picked Velasquez going in, but I didn't really have a dog in this fight. I mean, I like both fighters. I have nothing against either of them. I was way more in favor of Velasquez over McFarlane, but here it could have gone either way. I'd have been fine. I mean, I'd have been proven wrong, but I've been proven wrong before. So I didn't have a dog in this fight. In fact, if anything, if anybody had a weird fetish, I got to say, all across social media, especially from the weigh-ins onward, was people favoring the looks of Kielholtz. Oh my gosh, she's hot. She's hot. Did you see her butt? Blah, 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 blah. So if anybody was swayed by looks, it was definitely people favoring Kielholtz, in my opinion. I mean, that's just what I saw on social media. But let's talk some more about the actual fight itself. Here's what I want to know: where was Denise Kielholtz's footwork? I mean, I've talked a lot of times about anytime a fighter loses to someone who is able to effectively use their range, use their height and reach, I say it. You got to work on you got to have the proper footwork and the head movement to get past that jab and get inside an opponent's range. Where was Kielholtz using that? All she was doing was bum rushing, leaning forward with her head forward, and swinging punches. That was how she was making her entrances into that fight. Where is the footwork? Where is the head movement? I saw Velasquez using a lot more effective head movement than Kielholtz. And Velasquez was using good footwork too. She was circling and going backwards, but she was using it to stay out of Kielholtz's range and avoid a lot of the strikes of Kielholtz. So if anything, it was Velasquez that had the better footwork and the better head movement. Kielholtz's was just missing. I mean, she was, bobbing her and weaving on the outside, but as soon as she'd go in, she was going head first. And boom, 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 boom. That's low grade striking. That is not kickboxing world champion level closing of the range. So if anything, I was disappointed in Denise as far as that goes. Because I've seen her fight before, and I know she can do better. For Velasquez, sometimes she will just do just enough to win, which I hate in fighters. I've seen her stalk down fighters before. I've seen her stalk down her opponents and land. But to me, it's like she's content. If an opponent will come to her, then she'll just counter. But if not, then she, takes that counter pressure fighter where she'll go forward and force her opponent to react, and then she reacts to that. But if someone is more willing to just give her something to counter off of, like Kielholtz did, then that's what Velasquez does. And it's not the most exciting of styles, for sure. Is Velasquez capable of being more exciting? Oh, definitely. Look at her fights against Alejandra Lara. Look at her fight against Christina Williams. Her fight against Bruna Ellen. Those were good fights. Those were exciting. Like, she was doing stuff in those fights. But this fight, she was just content to just let Kielholtz take the lead, and then she was happy to just counter off of that. So it wasn't the most exciting style, but it was effective. Very effective. For fights to make. So let me pull up the rankings here because they just updated them. All right, so women's flyweight. So we got the champ, Juliana Velasquez. McFarlane obviously hasn't fought since she lost the title, and she had surgery, I guess. She's probably still going to be out for a while. Kielholtz at number 3, just lost. I think it's pretty obvious that Velasquez is going to be taking on Kielholtz next. That fight, I'll be honest, that fight has snooze fest written all over it. It just has a lot of potential to be boring. I forgot something. There we go. If Liz can't take that fight, then you got to go all the way down to number 5, Alejandra Lara. She's fighting Deanna Bennett next. If she gets past Bennett, possibly. That's assuming, of course, that Kielholtz can't fight, or Carmouche can't fight. No way they're giving Vita Ortega a fight, title shot. So it's either going to be Liz Carmouche, or if Liz Carmouche can't fight for whatever reason, and Alejandra Lara gets past Deanna Bennett, they're going all the way down to number 5 for the next title shot. As for Kielholtz, they could give her Kana Watanabe, which if that happens, man, she is going to slaughter Kana Watanabe. Watanabe, she does not have the stand-up. and does not have the footwork and the head movement to stand up with Kielholtz. That's going to be like the easiest recovery fight they could possibly give Denise Kielholtz. They could give her Alejandra Lara or the loser of Lara versus Bennett. We'll have to see. They could also give Denise Kielholtz Vita Ortega. Ortega was the last fighter before Velasquez to beat Denise Kielholtz, beat her via standing guillotine. Kielholtz, I would imagine she's going to want that win back. Most fighters do want to get a win back, you know? They want to avenge those losses. So for Kielholtz, probably either going to be Watanabe, Lara, or Ortega. I think Ortega would be a fun fight. Vita Ortega is an absolute dog. I don't mean that insultingly. I mean that in a good way. Ortega is one of the toughest fighters in that division. She is always going to be in the fight, even when she's getting outclassed. She's never, well, let's just put it this way. Vita Ortega almost never gets outclassed in a fight. She is always in there. She's always a live dog in any fight she's in. She is tough as hell, and she will just keep coming at you. I love that about Vita Ortega. She's not the best fighter in the division, but she is probably the toughest. So I would not be disappointed with a Kielholtz versus Ortega rematch. So that's it for that one. Let's talk about what other fights. Let's move on to the next big subject I want to talk about. Miesha Tate's homecoming. So Miesha Tate comes back after what, 4 or 5 years away from the sport, comes back in and makes a statement win over Marion Reneau, the first and now only fighter to beat Marion Reneau inside the distance. Beat her via third round, ground and pound. And it wasn't easy going for Miesha at first. You could tell there was some ring rust there. Reneau was hitting her hard with some power shots at the beginning of the fight. But Tate was not deterred. And Tate, you could tell she had improved her striking some. She was countering more effectively. And as that first round wore on and then Tate got the takedown, she started to take over. But she was getting lit up at first with some big power shots from Marion Reneau. So I got to give Marion Reneau credit for that. She was hitting Tate hard. But the problem was she was throwing one shot at a time, one punch at a time. Can't just throw one punch at a time like that against someone like Miesha Tate, because Miesha Tate's going to keep coming forward. She's tough. She keeps coming forward, and she's gonna outland you that way. But as the fight wore on, it just became more and more obvious that Miesha Tate was the fresher fighter. Took Marion Reneau down earlier in the second round and did her work there. And then in the third round, took her down and just pounded her out. Very nice. Like I said, statement win for Miesha Tate. And she needed to make that statement. Now, is it like, the greatest win ever? Beating Marion Reneau, who was, like I said, was going into that fight on a 4-fight losing streak? No. But was it still a statement? Yes, it was. When you're the only fighter to finish someone, that is basically making a statement. And Tate came out and she made that statement that she needed to do. And it's great. This is great because people are already talking about who she's going to fight next, the matchup possibilities. People are talking more about the other fights going on in the bantamweight division right now. I mean, this is one fight has basically revitalized this division in the eyes of so many people. And people are already talking about, well, who do we match Tate up next? So let me look at the rankings here real quick. All right. Oh, you know what? I haven't pulled up. Down more. So Miesha Tate already got placed at number 8. Hold on. So I already got Tate at 8, pushed 4 fighters down spots. And I believe Reneau was in the top 15 and then got removed. So here you have Tate at number 8. Ketlen Vieira already has a fight coming up against McMahon. Miesha Tate already has a fight booked against Aspen Ladd. That's coming up very fast. Lena Landsberg, last I heard she was pregnant. I don't know if she had the kid yet. So she's still out for a while. Piana Kielholtz, I think she has a fight booked right now. Let me check. Yeah, I think she just booked a fight. Yeah, she's booked against Raquel Pennington in September. So Pennington, she's not even ranked right now. So Kielholtz is defending her 12th ranked spot right now. Eubanks is moving down to flyweight for a fight. So really, Miesha Tate, you're looking at this upper echelon of fighters in the division right now for her to face. And Kunitskaya coming off a first-round finish. She could face Kunitskaya. Pena's booked for the title shot. Are they going to give, which reminds me, do I think they're going to give Tate a title shot right away against the winner of Pena versus Nunes? No. You got, yes, she came back. She won. She made a statement. But it wasn't enough to warrant a title shot. And it wasn't enough to get enough hype to warrant an immediate title shot. At least in my opinion. But she could definitely take on Yana Kunitskaya. Kunitskaya was trying to call her out if they both won. And Kunitskaya, of course, got knocked out. Or got TKO'd, rather. They could easily do Miesha Tate versus Irene Aldana. And the winner of that gets a title shot. I wouldn't have a problem with that. Aspen Ladd's busy with Miesha Tate. Tate has talked about a rematch with Holly Holm, and you know Holly Holm wants to get that loss back. So they could do that. Not really interested in Holm or Tate versus De Randamie. So, like I said, I'd be fine with Tate versus Kunitskaya or versus Ladd or even Holm. And then if Tate gets by any of those three, I could see them giving her a title shot. I mean, it's not like Amanda Nunes, is so quick to go from fight to fight. She tends to take breaks between fights, particularly because she's a dual weight champ and whatnot. But, I mean, they could go, any of those three, really. Kunitskaya, Aldana, or Holm would make for great fights. Holm has come a long way since her fight against Tate when she lost, the title. But Tate's still going to be a threat with the wrestling. And that fight was very close in that 5th round. It probably going to a draw. Had Tate not gotten the finish, it probably would have gone to a draw. So that fight was very close. And good fight, too. An exciting fight. But we could definitely see that. I think Tate versus Aldana would be fun. I think Aldana outclasses her on the feet. But, Tate is always going to be a threat with the wrestling. And, Aldana, traditionally not very good against strong wrestlers. So, would be a threat. And then, of course, Kunitskaya. Because Kunitskaya was calling Tate out. And, they could easily build on that. Even though Kunitskaya is coming off a loss, they could be doing the slow burn with Tate. Because they might be figuring, well, there's no real hurry to rush her into a title shot. So, yeah, Miesha Tate, she's back. And the bantamweight division is almost like revitalized overnight because of it. And I was thinking, I was hoping that would happen, and it seems like it's happened already. So, let's go into the chat here. It's a joke that Porto, the Blue Dash, what's up, Blue Dash? It's a joke that Porto got removed from rankings. No one between 8 to 10 right now can even touch her. And how is Loretta tied with Guy? She lost the guy. So, yeah. Is Loretta tied with Guy? Yeah, she's hype. Hype plays a big part in rankings. But yeah, it is a joke. As for Porto, listen, if Porto gets as soon as Porto gets a win in Bellator, and I believe she already has a fight booked. Vanessa Porto. Yeah, Porto has a fight booked for the end of this month against Laura Joanny. If she can get a win there and make it look good, then she'll definitely be ranked. I mean, the problem with Vanessa Porto is that a lot of the people in the rankings probably don't know her because they're UFC and Bellator only. And even though Porto was the Invicta champ, a lot of people aren't going to be that familiar with her. So she needs to, make the people on the ranking panel wake up and realize who she is. And I agree, the 8 to 10 can't touch her. Actually, a lot of the people in those rankings. I would say Kate Jackson would probably lose to her. Ortega would be a fun fight, but I think Porto wins. And Vanessa Porto is a tough fight for pretty much everybody. I mean, it's not like Liz Carmouche ran away with that fight. She just had to make it dirty and slow it down and, make it a Liz Carmouche fight in order to get that win. Yeah, Kielholtz versus Pennington, right. And then Judy V says Holm versus Tate would be great. I agree. I'd have no problem with that fight. That'd be a rematch. You could make that an easy co-main on a pay-per-view, or you could easily make that to try to maximize the amount of people that are watching it. You can make it a main event on a fight night, which UFC is not afraid to make the ladies a main event on a fight night. A couple other things I want to talk about are some of the other fights from this weekend. All right, first up, Diana Avsaragova defeated Gabriela Golfin via decision. I only watched bits and pieces of this. Was this Diana Avsaragova's best performance by far? No. Wasn't her best performance at all. She definitely made it a lot closer than she needed to. Here's the thing. A lot of people are piling on her, and I think it is very unfair. And I think her getting a knockout, like a 30-some second knockout in her last fight, did not help things because people were expecting her to come in here and get an easy knockout against an unheralded fighter who is coming in off of 2 straight losses. Here's the thing. One, I said last Thursday that Golfin is tough. So she's not going to be an easy fight for Avsaragova. I picked Avsaragova to win, but like I said, Golfin is tough, and she showed that she's tough. Here's the other thing. A lot of people were expecting Avsaragova to come in and get another knockout. She's not a striker. She's a wrestler first. She's still getting used to, striking and mixing things up as a fighter. This is only her 4th pro fight, okay? My biggest problem isn't with Avsaragova at all. My problem is with Bellator bringing in these young, inexperienced prospects and putting them on big shows. Bellator is not the place to be bringing in these very young, very green, very inexperienced fighters, okay? It is not. You're Bellator. You're the de facto number 2, at least in North America. Bellator is not the place to be building these ladies up and the guys up from nothing. It's simply not. Now, do they find some good prospects and do they do a good job of building up some of them? Yes, but they also fail at a number of them too. I mean, look what happened to Valerie Loretta in her last fight. She fought a Huda Fook. Okay, she fought, in all fairness to Hannah Guy, she came in and everyone was saying, Huda Fook is that girl. And same thing happened to Diana Avsaragova against Gabriela Golfin. A lot of people were saying, well, Huda Fook is this girl. Well, guess what? She's a fighter around the level of fighters that Diana Avsaragova needs to be fighting right now to get the experience. The problem is This is not a Bellator level fight. People go to Bellator, the de facto number two, they expect to see higher level fights. They don't expect to see this. And that's nothing against these ladies. Nothing against these ladies. I give them all the credit. They went out there and they fought hard and they did their best. It's just that they're beginning level fighters. You know, they're within their first 4 or 5 fights. Bellator is not the place for them. These ladies should be fighting in places like Cage Fury, LFA, Invicta, CES, your regional shows, you know, like the regional level shows, like Fight Pass level shows, Eastern European regional level shows, Brazilian regional level shows. That's the level these ladies need to be fighting at. Not on belt. That's the level of show these ladies should be fighting at, getting that experience in. Not in Bellator. So if Saragoa, she got the win. She actually, she already called out Bellator. She said, "See you soon." So we'll see if that fight gets made. Judy B says it was a boring fight. It was. It was. If Saragoa was a little tentative, she's still experimenting. She's still learning. I find it a little weird that she didn't engage in the wrestling at all. Every time they got to the clinch situation, she broke it off the strike. Yeah, so she said, I guess she said in a post-fight interview that she really wanted to continue working on her striking. Like, I guess she didn't feel satisfied that she got to show off enough, to use it enough in her last fight because of the fast knockout. I mean, she fought that Tara Graf. I think Graf is just chinny. I mean, she got knocked out by Laredo, then she got knocked out by Saragoa in the first round. Tara Graf might just be, you know, have a glass jaw. So if Saragoa wanted to really work on her striking more in this fight and really, you know, work out the kinks and everything. Because it's one thing to work on stuff in the gym, but you don't know how you're going to perform until you actually start using it. And that's what it looked like. You know, it looked like someone who's still trying, getting her legs wet, working on her striking, and working on it in this fight. It's just not pretty, you know, when this is like streamed worldwide and on the prelims to a big fight show. Also on that card, on Bellator, Arlene Blencowe making a statement against Diana Silva. Silva, you know, was doing well at first, and then Blencowe just started taking over, much cleaner boxing than Silva, and getting that finish in the third round. Third round? I think it was the third round. But Arlene Blencowe showing just how good she can be. And, you know, I think she's what, 38? How old is Arlene Blencowe? Anger Fist is 38 years old. Still holding her own at 38 years old, still improving, still, you know, showing she can hang. I mean, you know, a lot of people were thinking highly of Silva after she did very well against Julia Budd, and a lot of people felt that she deserved that nod over Julia Budd in her Bellator debut. So Bellator said, all right, let's throw her in there against another tough fighter and see how she does against Blencowe. And Blencowe just, honestly, Blencowe just kind of outclassed her. So good on Arlene Blencowe. The sad part is Diana Silva, she's already 0-2 in Bellator because they put her in against two of the best that the featherweight division has to offer. So maybe they'll give her a third chance. I don't know. I mean, they did just cut a couple more featherweights. And then they lost another one because she wanted to leave and they let her go. Let's see. Oh, speaking of the rankings and losing featherweights, let's look at those featherweight rankings real quick here. Women's featherweight. There we go. So they lost, I think Marina Moknatkina was ranked, and they lost her. Yeah. I think Marina Moknatkina was like at number 9, and she's gone. So they moved Talita Nogueira up and moved Jessica Borgia in at number 10 at 3-3. Man, I'll tell you what, if you're a featherweight with even a 500 record and you can come into Bellator and get a win, you're going to be ranked in the top 10. That division is that thin right now. It's sad, honestly. It really is. I'm not even a featherweight fan. I mean, I'm a fan of some of the fighters there, but I'm not a fan of the division overall. And honestly, this division is just sad at this point. All right, moving on. This fight was just pathetic. It was a mismatch going in. It was a mismatch on paper, and it was even worse in reality. I mean, it was just, I don't know what's going on with my PC. Montserrat Ruiz, she has no business in the UFC, let alone fighting someone in the top 15. Now, Amanda Lemos, I don't think she's even beaten anyone to really be in the top 15. I mean, Mizuki Inoue and Souza are good, but not great. I have a hard time giving Amanda Lemos credit for this. One, it was a fast stoppage. Now, you could say, well, she wasn't going to get finished soon enough anyway. You don't stop a fight based on, she was going to finish her anyway. You base it on, was she actually finished? Now, did she go down? Yes, but she also recovered super fast. And people are going to say, well, she recovered fast because the referee saved her. Possibly. But the fact that she got up that fast and had her guard up and with, like on instinct just showed that she was still in it. Okay. The bad part is Ruiz was just coming forward straight at the punches of Amanda Lemos. I mean, people were saying, oh, her striking's so crisp, it's so straight. It's easy for your striking to look crisp and straight when your opponent is running straight onto your punches. So does Amanda Lemos look good? Yes. But does this fight make her look as good as people are making her out to be? No. I'll give her credit for the win. But I'm not going to give her credit for looking good in this win because it was a setup fight. It was meant to make her look good. And that's exactly what Montserrat Ruiz did. Ruiz is not a UFC level fighter. And neither is Cheyenne Bays, who she beat. Neither of them belong in the UFC, in my opinion. And to match this fight, to match these two up, it wasn't, it's not Priscilla Cachoeira versus Valentina Shevchenko level of, negligence, but they knew exactly what they were doing. Ruiz has one game plan. Get on the inside, get to the head and arm throw. And to do that against a striker like Lemos, she had to wade in through the punches because Ruiz's striking is terrible. So she had nothing else to do but to run straight forward at Lemos and get punched in the face every time. This was just a bad fight, period. I mean, good on Amanda Lemos. She got a win. But I can't really give her much credit for this win because it was a super mismatch. Like Judy said, it was such a quick finish. So that's it for the fights this weekend, or from this past weekend. Couple of notes I wanted to talk about real quick here. Rizin Fighting Federation had their press conference, early this morning. They announced Ayaka Hamasaki's opponent for Rizin 30 on September 19th is going to be Emi Fujino. So these two fought once before. Excuse me. Back in, I think, 2011. Let me check here. Fujino. Back in 2012, December 2012, back when in Jules, Hamasaki was 8-0 at the time. Fujino is 11 and was 11-5. Now they're going into this fight. That was at strawweight, by the way, because Hamasaki was campaigning at strawweight at the time. So now they're booking this in a non-title fight. Looking at the stats here, you know, both fighters have fought a ton since then. Hamasaki is 22-3 now, coming in on 3 straight wins. Fujino is riding 3 straight wins as well, coming in at 25-11. Fujino is the elder fighter by a year. She's 40 years old. Hamasaki is 39. Fujino is the taller fighter, 5'3", 160 centimeters to Hamasaki's 5'1", 155 centimeters. And Fujino will probably be the bigger fighter because she's stuck with strawweight her entire career, whereas Hamasaki, you know, she was a strawweight for a while and she's been an atomweight for years now. This will of course be at super atomweight in Ryzen. That means 49 kilograms, 108 pounds. It'll be interesting to see if Fujino can get her weight down. She seems to think she can. I'll tell you what, though, the level of competition that these two have been facing is worlds apart. Now, minus some relatively easy fights that Hamasaki has gotten, she's been facing a far tougher level of competition than Fujino has. Fujino last lost almost 3 years ago. She lost to Viviane Araújo in Pancrase for the strawweight championship then. But since then, you look at her opponents, and she's outmatched them. She beat Ksenia Guseva, who was 4-0-1 at the time. Is it Ksenia? Okay, different than who I thought it was. Then she beat Edna Oliveira, who was 8-6-1 at the time. She was doing a good job against Vieira, and then Vieira broke her wrist somehow on a punch. And so Fujino got the doctor stoppage in that. And then she defeated Hyunji John, who was 3-2 at the time for the Pancrase Strawweight Championship. Just, 24-11 fighting someone who's 3-2. So, and you look at a lot of Fujino's wins before that, a lot of her career is fighting beginner-level fighters, novice-level fighters. I mean, I'm definitely going with Hamasaki to win this one for sure. But I think Fujina will give a good account of herself. I don't think she'll get finished early or anything. Like I said, their last fight, it went to decision. So, decision? Yeah, it went to decision back in 2012, almost 10 years ago. So, should be an all right fight. Then One Championship announced 2 ladies fights for, was it one, whatever their next event's called. Some goofy name. One Championship Battleground on July 30th. They announced 2 of their atomweight bouts. Ritu Phogat coming in against Lin Hae-jin. Should be an all right one. Lin Hae-jin hasn't fought in like 2 years. So basically, Ritu Phogat's entire career has come since Lin Hae-jin's last fight. I think Lin Hae-jin is going to be a tough out for Ritu Phogat. It's just going to depend on what the ring rust is going to be like for Lin Hae-jin. And then Ritu Phogat taking on Wan Lu Ping. I actually made a video talking about that one. I think this is meant to be a layup fight that looks really good on paper for Victoria Lee. I mean, Juan is more experienced, but the experience comes against nobody in particular, nobody worth talking about. And she's going to be the smaller fighter again. So, yeah, Ritu Phogat versus Hae-jin and Lee versus Wan Lu Ping. And I think that's it for tonight. So let's take a look at the chat again. What do you think about the fight this week between Diana Belbita versus Hannah Goldie? I haven't seen enough Goldie, but I'm not impressed by either of them. I mean, Belbita, She's a striker, but has like no ground game basically. Goldie, I know I've seen her fight. I just can't tell you when or against who. Nothing she's done has been memorable. Her very few fights. So I don't really have an opinion on that one yet. Hopefully I'll have one by Thursday night for the WMMA scene report. Blue Dash says, I really want to know when the atomweight tourney is going to be rescheduled. So I was watching the post-fight podcast for SCMP MMA last night, and they were talking about that, and it possibly could be getting rescheduled soon now that One Championship is going to be putting on events again. Just keep fingers crossed. Keep your fingers crossed. But yeah, it's BS that they're announcing fights for this event before they can do the tournament. But Nick over there at SCMP MMA said that he heard that Singapore wasn't giving visas to people coming out of China because of COVID and whatnot. And so I don't know. We'll see. I guess they let him off, or they loosened that now if Lin Hae Jin's supposed to be coming there to fight. So we'll see. Leon was late, but he's here now. Judy says she doesn't know who those ladies are. I'm guessing Diana Belbita versus Goldie. Yeah, I think they are the opening bout this week. Saturday night, the opening bout is Belbita versus Goldie. And then it looks like the next bout is the flyweight bout between Eubanks versus Elise Reed. Judy's still packing. Yeah, moves. You're getting ready to move. That sucks because I've moved a lot. So, but that's really all I have tonight. I mostly wanted to break down Velasquez versus Kielholtz and then talk about Miesha Tate's comeback. Less of a breakdown for that fight, just more talking about what the future holds. Like I said, Velasquez versus Kielholtz, controversial, but I didn't have a problem with the decision. I wouldn't have had a problem with the draw either. Good for the bantamweight division overall that Miesha Tate won, and she did look good doing it too. It's already gotten people talking about the matchups that are already happening at bantamweight and future matchups, and that's more talk about bantamweight online than I've seen in quite a while. So it's amazing how one fight can energize a whole division and to talk about the division. So really good. And then the other fights this weekend overall weren't bad. There were some good ones, and there was a mismatch. There was a stinker. And then we got some good fights to look forward to as well. So like I said, these One Championship bouts, they go down at the end of this month. Ryzen 30 goes down like 2/3 of the way through next month. Unfortunately, I think that's the only ladies bout announced. But we'll see. Anyway, I think things are looking good for the women's divisions right now, and busy time. A lot of fights booked. I mean, we've got fights booked all the way into October now. Busy time. I saw on Instagram, Mara Romero Barella just signed with Invicta. She previously fought in the UFC, and she has a fight booked for, I think, end of August. So it looks like we already know when the next Invicta event's going to be. I'm looking forward to that. A lot of fights, honestly, when it happened, but we'll have to see. Keep an eye out for Thursday. Definitely got a lot of fights. Like I said, we had a lot of fights over the weekend to talk about from this past weekend. I'll break them all down a little more, break all of them down more on Thursday. And then we got some fights to look forward to this coming weekend. This coming weekend, we have, let's see, I got my calendar up. This thing is like a lifesaver for me because I try to update it as often as possible just so I know what events are happening. This weekend, we have on Saturday, I don't think there's anything going on Friday night, but Saturday, Octagon 26 has 4 ladies bouts, including a battle of UFC veterans between Lucia Pudilova and Talita Bernardo. So I'm going to try to do a full breakdown of those fights. I'll try to publish it tomorrow night. I'm going to try to actually do record that one and then do like a premiere tomorrow night. And that's like where you're watching the recording, but you have a live chat just like you do for the stream. We have the UFC event with 1, 2, 3, 4 ladies bouts. You know, like I said, we got Belbita versus Goldie, Eubanks versus Reed, Macy Barber taking on Miranda Maverick, and then we got Aspen Ladd returning from almost 2 years off, taking on Macy Chasson. We got I believe it's an atomweight bout early Saturday morning over in Japan at War Dog. War Dog 31 goes down Saturday. An atomweight bout. Erika Suzuki versus Katomi Shintani. I've seen a few of Suzuki's fights before. Shudo on Sunday morning, like early Sunday morning, is going to have a #1 contender bout for their super atomweight belt, which is currently held by, what's her name? Mina Karobi. So they're going to have a #1 contender bout for her first title defense. She won that belt last year, hasn't defended it yet. So a lot of fights going on this weekend. Okay, Leon. Who do you match Arlene Blencowe and Diana Silva up with if you were a matchmaker? Good question. Good question. So let me move back up. I'm already on featherweight. So let me enlarge this real quick. Arlene Blencowe. You could give her another chance at Cyborg, but I think she only has, what, 1 win since then? So maybe give her another win. Could do Zingano versus Blencowe. Could do the rematch of Blencowe versus Bud. Do the trilogy bout. Bud won both matches previously. Blencowe already beat Smith not that long ago. Could do Blencowe versus McCourt. Bunch of fights for her. For Silva, give her Jessica Borga. She's bottom of the division. She's 3-3. Yeah, she's bottom of the division. She's 3-3. But I think that is like, that's it. I think right now, this top 10 you're looking at, besides Diana Silva, who's unranked, I think this is it. You're looking at this division right here. This is it. So I guess give her Jessica Borga. I mean, I'd have to go and look at more on Bellator's website, but it's thin pickings right now. What else Leon have? So Leon says, Denise won, in my opinion. They only wanted Juliana to win because they want to do a Lima Lay rematch. I disagree. Because Kielholtz is a much more marketable fighter than either Velasquez or Lima Lay. Okay. Lima Lay is practically on her way out already. You know, she's been talking about retiring. If she fights again, I won't be that surprised if she fights again. But I think she's already checked out, personally, is my opinion, because she's talking about retirement and everything before she lost. Maybe the loss reinvigorated her, but man, she's already been putting on the weight again. She has no timetable for return. So I disagree that they wanted Velasquez to win so they could do the rematch. I think they wanted Kielholtz to win because she opens up the market for Europe more. She's a bigger finisher than Velasquez. She's a striker. She's prettier. I think, and like you missed it, but I mentioned earlier that, the buildup the entire night when they were talking about that fight, it was mostly pro Kielholtz. They were talking about how much of a problem she was going to be on the feet for Velasquez. And, Velasquez is going to take this to the ground. But even there, she's going to have trouble because Kielholtz is a judoka too, and she has the submission wins. So I disagree that they wanted Velasquez to win. Well, yeah, they wanted to Alimale to retain her title. Leon says they want Alima. Yeah, they want her to retain her title, but now that she's gone, I think they wanted Kielholtz to win. I do. Judy B says Barber versus Maverick, anyone's pick. I tend to favor Maverick. She's just more cleaner as a fighter. She's more altogether there as a fighter. But what Barber has is that it's not necessarily one hitter quitter power in her hands, but she has the power that one punch could change the momentum of the fight. And she hits them every fight. I mean, she hit it against Grasso in the third round. So doesn't necessarily mean that she can't hit it against Miranda Maverick either. I mean, Miranda Maverick is not the cleanest striker. She doesn't have the best defense. So we'll see. I mean, Barber is now at Team Alpha Male. We'll see if they can do anything with her. We'll have to see. Leon says Maverick. Judy says her pick as well, but anything's possible. Barber said she will get her hand raised. Leon says Pam Sorensen signed. Who would you match her up with? Well, you got to do an introductory fight. I think Jesse Mealy has a fight booked. Let me see. I think Jesse Mealy has a fight booked right now. Okay, she doesn't. So Jesse Mealy would be a good fight. Sinead Kavanaugh. They could do Harding. They could do McCourt. I don't think they want to kill off McCourt right now. But Mealy or Kavanaugh or Nogueira. I'll be honest. I have nothing against Pam Sorensen, but I have a hard time getting excited for her fights. I mean, what are her best wins? Jan Finney, who had a losing record at the time. Helena Kolesnik, who was undefeated at the time. But showed that she has no ground game. She got her lack of ground game got exposed in that fight. She lost to Felicia Spencer, and then she beat Caitlin Young, who was one win above 500 at the time. I've just never seen anything out of Pam that gets me excited to watch her fight. So it's hard for me to get excited. She said in an interview at Bellator that she was supposed to fight Kana Watanabe, so she wants to fight. Are you talking about Alimale? I think that'd be an interesting fight, Alimale versus Watanabe, because they're both primarily ground fighters. So be interesting. Who do you think won? I'm not sure which fight you mean there, Leon. And then Leon says, I think there's bad fights for her at Bellator. There's definitely bad fights for Pam Sorensen at Bellator. I mean, like I said, nothing against Pam, but she was basically the runner-up to Felicia Spencer, and Felicia was like the runner-up. Well, no, she was the runner-up to Spencer, and only got the title because Spencer got called up to the UFC. So it's hard to really get. I mean, she's not a bad fighter. It's just that, I mean, yeah, it's hard for me to get excited for her. Like, nothing she's done has made me excited to watch her fight. So anyway, that's all I have tonight. It is almost 11 o'clock. I still have to take out the trash. So thank you to everyone who tuned in. If you haven't yet, please hit that like button. And go ahead, share the stream as well so people can watch it on replay. And while you're at it, don't forget, if you haven't yet, subscribe to WMMA Now, the most complete women's mixed martial arts dedicated platform on YouTube. We'll do another live stream on Thursday for the usual WMMA Scene report. And then we'll see what we have to talk about. But lots of fights to discuss from this past weekend and lots more fights going on this upcoming weekend. So hope to see everyone there Thursday night. Have a good night, everyone.